Today we're here doing a stream health monitoring event where we're monitoring the stream health of the stream that's behind me, which is Lowery Creek. So Lowery Creek is a stream in the Wisconsin Driftless area that also flows across one of our farms here at South Farm. This is a volunteer event. Folks can come out and join us and help take these measurements. We're interested in Lowery Creek and in water quality in general because this is an important part of what is fueling the work that we're doing here. We would like to improve the water quality of this creek and of the Midwest in general. The context of Lowery Creek is that it's a very high quality trout stream. It's actually a stream that has gotten more healthy thanks to the pretty incredible efforts of the people who live in this watershed. So they started this monitoring program to see how they're doing and monitor improvement in the stream health over time. And we've just hopped in and added our efforts to the broader collective. And this volunteering is part of a broader statewide effort of water action volunteers. So there's people doing the same methods in streams all across Wisconsin so we can track how we're doing at a state level. We basically have agricultural landscapes that we typically amend with a lot of nutrients, including nitrogen and phosphorus, which are the two nutrients we're most concerned about for water quality. But we could also consider sort of the soil itself to be a pollutant if it's getting into the streams. Kind of chocolate milk water is not ideal. So all of that soil and those nutrients are good when they're in agricultural landscapes. They're contributing to crop productivity. They're keeping the landscapes productive and making a lot of good food for us. But we want to keep them in the agricultural landscapes. We don't want them to end up in our water systems, because the same nutrients that would fuel productive crops will also fuel productive algal blooms. That's a problem for natural environments. It's also a problem because a lot of those pollutants are human health concerns as well. So you might think an agroforestry system with perennial roots in the ground that are taking up nutrients 365 days out of the year potentially might be better at retaining nutrients than an annual cropping system where in general there's nothing growing there for half of the year, sometimes more. If agroforestry systems can hold on to those nutrients, that also means probably fewer are coming in, fewer need to be added to replace nutrients that are removed in, say, harvest. And that means that less is going downstream. The other way that agroforestry systems might operate, and a riparian buffer is kind of a classic example, is to capture and retain nutrients from upslope, maybe from a conventional ag practice, before it gets into the stream. I think the way that research can help catalyze the kind of broad-scale agroforestry that we're talking about is that water quality, for example, we'll take that as an ecosystem service that we would like to see better represented on the landscape. Reducing nutrient inputs, reducing the amount of sediment or soil that's eroding into streams, improving the physical environment for the fish or animals that might live there. So what we would like to do on the research side is demonstrate that agroforestry is effective at providing these outcomes that we would like to see. And then we can use that demonstration of an outcome that we would like to help catalyze more plantings. So for example, if someone were to say, well, why should I plant a riparian buffer? Or why should my riparian buffer look like the riparian buffers that you're planting? Well, we would like to have demonstrations to point to and say, here's why, here's what's effective, and what we're doing can help create these outcomes that we're looking for on the landscape. The other reason, and I think it's a critical reason that we don't always necessarily think about right away, is that we'd like to improve the practices that we're doing. So if we're putting 10 different practices on the landscape behind me in this watershed, and we want to know which ones are most effective, or are there things that we can learn from the practices that are performing really, really well, for example, from a water quality standpoint, and replicate that success in more of our practices in general. So I think it's using our success to catalyze more planting, and it's using the research to help determine, well, what was most successful and can we replicate that?